Anybody who has been driving for a few years remembers the staggering gas prices of 2008. With prices at $4.60 a gallon, consumers felt justified when shaking the last few drops of gas out of the pump handle. As with any industry, when prices and profits soar, people will always look for ways to undercut the competition. People typically don't care how they get their product, as long as it's cheap and reliable. No intelligent consumer will argue industry competition is a bad thing. Competition helps to raise industry standards and keep prices low. But at what cost? Since the fracking boom took off, the entire world has felt the hydraulic aftershocks caused by the excessive drilling. Although current gas prices are the result of greedy black gold prospectors, you might want to hold on to that postage stamp before sending your thank you letter. Not only is fracking poisoning drinking water, it is also polluting our air, contaminating public land, and severely hurting our wildlife. The high gas prices prior to the fracking boom encouraged deep-walled investors to take interest in the oil industry. With more and more investors looking to make a quick buck, natural gas wells in the United States were popping up in the thousands. In Texas alone, the number of natural gas wells nearly doubled from 2000 to 2011. As of 2015, the United States has over 1 million fracking wells, which stretch from the East Coast to the West Coast. The majority of these wells can be found in states that sit on shale and natural oil resources, such as Colorado, Texas, Pennsylvania, Wyoming, Oklahoma, and West Virginia. Although these wells were helping to boost towns' economy and create jobs, local residents have questioned whether or not the drilling techniques used are safe. Although fracking might seem new to some, the techniques used have actually been around since the late 1940s. Fracking, also known as hydraulic fracturing, is the process in which high-pressure fluid is blasted down a narrow shaft bored into the ground. The water pressure then pushes against the walls of the shaft, causing the nearby shale rock to crack. These newly formed cracks, or fissures, will then allow natural gas to flow freely into the shaft for later extraction. Since fracking started, there have been many innovations in the way oil is extracted today. The fracking companies have introduced chemicals and bigger drills, allowing them to reach much further depths. When oil companies begin the fracking process, they first start by drilling wells in order to reach the shale rock which contain the natural gas. These wells can exceed 8,000 feet in depth. Natural aquifers, which are used for drinking and irrigation water, are found at much shallower depths and can often stretch for hundreds of miles. Oil companies must drill through natural occurring aquifers if they want to reach the mineable shale rock. This would be less terrifying if in the process of becoming more cost efficient, oil companies weren't adding numerous chemicals to their fracking medium. With over 600 chemicals in question, including known carcinogens and toxins such as lead, mercury, hydrochloric acid, and methanol, these chemicals help aid the fracking process and serve multiple functions such as dissolving minerals, initiating cracks in the rock, preventing the swelling and shifting of clay, and eliminating bacteria in the water that causes corrosive byproduct. Although some of these chemicals help to prevent decay in the 8,000-foot pipeline, they don't actively do so 100% of the time, which ultimately results in the structural integrity of the pipe being compromised. Cracks in the pipeline allow chemicals and natural gas out of the system into adjacent aquifers, polluting drinking and irrigation water. Structural compromise of the pipeline isn't the only culprit polluting underground aquifers. According to Time magazine, experts believe surface spills pose a greater threat than hydraulic fracturing itself. Surface contamination can be primarily traced back to faulty equipment and waste storage ponds. In Arlington, Texas, officials reported a fracking spill that led to the evacuation of over 100 homes. The fracking site was in such close proximity to residential neighborhoods that 42,000 gallons of fracking fluid worked its way into city streets, storm drains, and nearby rivers. Another documented case of fracking surface spills took place near Williston, North Dakota, when over 3 million gallons of fracking fluid containing brine, a byproduct of fracking, leaked its way into the Missouri River. Fracking techniques have raised concern among citizens and environmentalists. An article posted by USA Today stated Americans who live close to fracking sites are exposed to much higher levels of air pollution containing chemicals such as benzene and formaldehyde. According to the National Resource Defense Council, air pollution from fracking can result in serious health problems. Exposure to diesel particulate matter, hydrogen sulfate, and other known fracking chemicals can cause respiratory problems, cardiovascular problems, brain and nervous system complications, negative reproductive system effects, and cancer. With over 1 million fracking wells in the United States as of 2015, CO2 emissions continue to be a major concern. When safety regulations aren't met, environmental disasters are inevitable. Residents of Porter Ranch, California, experienced the biggest gas leak in U.S. history. The leak lasted 112 days and expelled upwards of 60 metric tons of methane each hour. This is the equivalent amount of greenhouse gases that 440,000 cars would emit over a one-year period. Unfortunately, accidents are not uncommon within the poorly regulated fracking industry and are severely impacting wildlife in surrounding areas. Veterinarians and farmers have reported deaths, serious illness, and reproductive problems among wildlife and domestic animals exposed to fracking wastewater. Birds and fish are the two biggest victims when it comes to wastewater runoff. Pennsylvania reported loss of biodiversity within the streams surrounding fracking sites, and autopsies revealed that birds and other wildlife have been poisoned by drinking chemically laced water that has worked its way into the streams. Not only is fracking polluting streams with wastewater runoff, the amount of water used to aid the fracking process can be measured in the millions of gallons per fracking site. In dry or arid regions, overuse of water threatens farming irrigation and can even affect fisheries as stream levels decline. Though some of the water used in the fracking process is recycled, the majority is either disposed deep underground or contaminated, completely removed from the natural water cycle, never to be used again. The devastating aftermath of the fracking industry has haunted oil towns and will potentially cost taxpayers millions of dollars in cleanup. The low gas prices left in the wake will continue to wash garbage ashore our nation's economical beaches. Although market competition is necessary, it appears the United States has taken a step in the wrong direction in terms of environmental safety. The fracking industry has jeopardized public health with their cancerous wells, air pollution, and drinking water contamination. Oversaturation of fracking wells in the United States have become a burden to small towns across our country. It's time the United States takes fair warning from industrial countries like China, who have proven the importance of air quality, and follow in the footsteps of our green leaders to the east, countries like Sweden, Denmark, and Finland, who have vowed to reduce carbon emissions. Unless higher safety regulations are enforced, the fracking industry will remain ignorant, and citizens will continue paying the difference in gas prices, be it with their money or their health.